What's going on, everybody? It's or JS. Four people in the room. Cool. Sorry, I was a minute late. I had the clock right in front of me, and all of a sudden it's 6:02, and I'm like, or 6:01. Oh well, happens. Um, I don't think people are going to be too upset about a minute. um, what's going on? And we'll just wait for a few people to pop in before. I do have some things that I did some homework on in regards to the channel memberships and that kind of stuff that we were talking about last week. And I'll talk about that some more um, as people pop in and give it like maybe 5 more minutes or so, just so that because I want to get like people's feedback and ideas if anybody else has got some ideas about these kind of things. And what? Nothing too much going on this week. I guess I'm still waiting for my payday, the check that I've been talking about. I last Wednesday, so we already talked about this a week ago. They told me 7 to 10 business days. 7 business days will be tomorrow. 10 business days will be next Wednesday. So I'm hoping that I'm really like hoping that that thing comes tomorrow because bills are piling up this month. It sucks. I just got this new phone and my first cell phone bill is outrageous and it's not supposed to be that much the subsequent months, but they give you that activation fee and all that garbage. So it's going to be a big bill. Plus, I've got to pay for a year's worth of web hosting for the web server that I host my clients' websites on. And I have to do that tomorrow and rent's due all at the same time. Yay. So I'm really hoping that that check pops in. I have faith that it will. I've been kind of burned out this week and I haven't put in time on getting some things done right. You can see my water bottles back there are all nice and organized. They're all full. The water filter, all my dishes are done and nice and organized. The only thing that's not is the pile of clothes behind me. That's a few weeks worth of laundry. When the clothes are clean, I throw them in the bin with the intent of I'll get around to folding that. Um, but I had other things I just had some things pile up over a couple of weeks, and I'd spent this week poking around getting that stuff out of the way. And because I don't know, my energy levels are really low. I'm using the Garmin Connect app and from this fitness tracker that I've got. And I started to notice that this thing they call the body battery that I really don't put much stock in. I think I need to pay attention to that more because it does. I was kind of going through it and I did some homework to find out like what are they actually measuring with this thing and how does this whole thing work? And it measures some different things. And but when that thing tells me I'm worn out, it's just like a cell phone battery. It tells you you're either at 100% all the way down to the lowest it ever shows for me is 5%. But there are a lot of patterns that are consistent. Every Saturday when I wake up to go to the bakery, it says my energy to start the day fully charged is 20 to 25% to start the day. By the time I go to the bakery on my bicycle, eat breakfast, and clock in, it's already telling me you're at 5% now. And so 5% goes the whole day. And then I got to ride my bike home and come home, and I'm still at 5% because I'm just done. And I've noticed that even on like a normal day, it might, like today it said I was at like, what was it today? I can look. It's right in front of me here. Body battery, I was at It's 56% when I woke up. And right now, well, as of at 420, I was at 14%. And I'm feeling it. I've been feeling burned out this whole week. The last 2 days, my body battery started out at 25%. That was the highest I had for the whole day. And yesterday, I was at 5% by 2:30 in the afternoon. So, and I'm like, man, I really do feel this. And I had this thing for a couple of years before I was arrested. This isn't something I bought. This was something that survived the raid, and it is. But I never really gave too much thought about the body battery reading. But it does kind of match up, because even the days that I start out higher, when it says that I'm at a 5, I feel like I'm at a 5. It's like, okay, time to go. Time to go sit in a chair, watch TV or whatever. Robot Nielsen says, "How's your blood pressure looking?" Blood pressure is always fine. I can talk about it for a minute. I've had 2 instances where my blood pressure had spiked. First one, years ago, mid 2000s, let's say 2000 and 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. I worked at a company in downtown Pittsburgh, in the 25th floor of this tall office building called PPG Place. It's one of the most famous buildings in Pittsburgh. It looks like a castle, and it's all glass, and it's got these spikes at the top. And it was in the Inspector Gadget movie that they filmed there, where whoever the evil guy's secret lair was at the top of this tower. I worked in that building. And at the in Market Square, it's an area with a bunch of shops and restaurants. It was right below me, right out the window, and there was a Rite Aid. And Adam Kenneth Campbell's in the house. How about that? This must be the guy that makes up a new troll account every week to come over. What's going on? So anyway, if you didn't know, my photographer name was Adam Kenneth Campbell, and that was the name I used. That was just like Geraldo Rivera. His real name is Jerry Rivers. So I had a somewhat fake name for my photography because I don't like my name. But I like my stepdad. It had nothing to do with that. I just don't like the fact nobody ever pronounces it right. It's pronounced bees, but people pronounce it buys. When I was in prison, I never corrected any of the guards, didn't give a shit. So anytime I'd hear buys, that's how they yell for you when they're calling your name. But I never liked my name, and so I was born Adam Campbell. And I've never met my real father, so that was my grandparents' names. I practically lived with my grandparents when I was young, all the way up through around 13 years old, and my parents built a house on the family farm. So I still lived right around the corner. The whole family I grew up with were the Campbell family. Some people pronounce it Campbell, but my family calls it Campbell. And so Kenneth was my stepdad's first name. So when I came up with a name as a photographer, that was the name I came up with, because Adam Bees sounds like some guy in a cubicle somewhere in corporate America, some middle manager nobody gives a shit about. And Adam Kenneth Campbell sounds like somebody who has a new fall collection coming out at Macy's this fall. So it was totally just a brand. But I'm not using it now because that whole thing got ruined when the FBI came plowing through my house with a tank. So I haven't touched that since. But I mean, I could go back to that, but it has actual meaning. It wasn't just some made up fake name. So going back to the blood pressure thing. So this job, I don't want to make it a really long story, but we had an office space in downtown Pittsburgh and it was very chill and it was an open office, but we had, we each could make our, we were basically, we just claimed a space and we grabbed some desks and you just make it however you want to make your space. And then we moved into this fancy office building and it was like we were all shoulder to shoulder, very cramped, and there was like foosball and ping pong and air hockey tables, and it was like this whole, tech company garbage. And it was loud and obnoxious and all these things started to happen and then all this drama came about and I was stressed out hard. This company went like 180 degrees in the wrong direction and everybody wanted to get out of there all of a sudden. And so I did this thing. I was feeling really lightheaded and dizzy when I'd be sitting there all day. I'd go in feeling fine. I'd feel terrible in the afternoon. So the Rite Aid down in Market Square had one of them things that you sit in and you put your blood pressure to get your blood pressure. And so I would go in the morning, sit in the thing, push the button and get my blood pressure, and it would be normal. It would be, the right blood pressure. I don't know what the numbers actually were at the time, but I would go back down at about 2 p.m. I'd go back down to the same machine. And I would sit there and I'd put my arm in the thing and I'd hit the button and my blood pressure would be through the roof. Like, holy shit, you got to go to the hospital blood pressure. Like doctors were like, oh my God. And that would happen every day at this job. And I would take pictures of it in the morning and then the afternoon. And I'd make like a split screen and say, this is how I came into work. This is how I am now. And I did this for a while on social media and people thought it was hilarious, other than you need to figure something out, Adam. This is not good for you. And I tried all kinds of things to make that stop. But the bottom line was I had to leave the company. It was just it turned into a giant ball of stress and it was nonstop toxicity to the point where I would go in feeling good. By 2 p.m, I feel like my head is going to explode and my blood pressure is off the charts. And as soon as I left that company and found a new job, boom, problem solved. Didn't have the high blood pressure anymore. And there was one other time back in, I'm going to say like 2001-ish, something like that. I kept having these bad headaches and dizzy spells again in the afternoons. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And so I didn't want to go to a doctor yet. It wasn't that serious. I got a blood pressure thing that you push the button on, just like Rite Aid, one of those ones you can use at home. I got blood sugar checker. You prick your finger and check your blood. And I did some other things just for my own amusement, if you will. And I started to find out, once again, I'd feel fine in the morning. I'd go up before I start work, put the blood pressure thing on, normal, good blood pressure. Sometime in the afternoon, I'm like starting to feel the head pounding and the whole thing, and my blood pressure would be high. But my blood sugar was fine, everything. I didn't have no diabetes, none of that. And it took me a minute, but I put 2 and 2 together. I had just started making my own cold brew coffee at home around the same time. And I was chugging this stuff, chugging it like one after the next. And that stuff is extremely strong, like cold brew coffee, especially making it at home. I have a limit. Well, I found out I have a limit of how much of that I can drink. And what was happening is I would drink too much and then I'd start getting the caffeine buzz. Like when you have too much caffeine, it really starts to mess with you. And I'd put the blood pressure thing in and my blood pressure would be high the next morning back to no. So once I figured that out, okay, here's how much cold brew I can drink without any problems. And I just stuck to that, pretty much measured it out every day. I figured out I could do like half and half with I used to get this really good chocolate milk from this one dairy, and I would put about half. And if I really felt like I needed a lot of coffee that day, I would make like, I used the 8-ounce mason jars, and they have the measurements on the side, but I just used those for glasses at my house. I just like them. So most of the time I'm just drinking out of mason jars anyway. And I also did some canning and stuff like that. So I had tons of these jars. And so I just put them in the cabinet and use them as drinking glasses. And so an 8-ounce glass, I'd fill it half with chocolate milk and half with coffee, the cold brew. And then I could have like 4 of those and be fine. It wouldn't be too much milk to make me feel the milk stuff. And it wouldn't be too much coffee to make me go crazy with too much coffee. And it worked out, and the blood pressure stayed fine. Now I'm drinking, my tolerance is a little higher on the coffee now than it was then, because now I can take 2 24-ounce bottles, but I put a good chunk of creamer at the bottom of it, and then I fill the rest with coffee. I can normally drink 2 of those. Sometimes I have to put a cap on it after halfway through the second one. Like if I start to feel like a little bit of a headache, I'll stop. But coffee. Other than that, blood pressure is always good. And I have some, let's see, what was my last blood pressure reading was, hold on. Here we go. August 24th, 111/76, which is not bad. That's normal. It can be lower than that too. Hold on. Blood pressure. Bing, 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 bing. How many more? How far back do I go? I don't do this like more than maybe once or twice a week. 111/75. 109/69. 4 weeks. Okay, there we go. 104/68. Like it's pretty. I mean, if I go back a year, all the different readings I've taken over the last year, 108/71. It's all in that range. It's all in the right range. Like nothing ever. I never get any like warnings. Only those 2 times, that toxic job that stressed me out, and the other time when it was the coffee, and that's it. So I'm cool with that. Even the stress I've been under over the last couple of years, granted, I didn't really start taking readings until I was living in that tool shed. And even then, only a couple of times did I do that when I lived in the tool shed. But since I've been living in this place where I live right now, maybe like once a week or so. It sits right next to my chair. So if I'm watching TV or whatever, I can look over and be like, oh, let's grab that. Check it out. So now that there's some people in the chat and some people who have joined, leaving comments and whatnot. I mean, we got 7 people in the house. That's good. How's the diet going? It's not. Last week I was really bad. In fact, last week I was like, I'm going to eat what I want and I don't care and I'm not going to log anything. But I did have some ideas about don't do that, do this instead, because I kind of knew which one was worse. But I didn't care. This week has been more of a, I still don't care, but I'm logging everything that I ate this week. I'm a little burned out. And so like that, I get bored eating healthy. Sorry. I asked Grok to give me some ideas to eat healthy. And I'm all like, nope, hell no. That tastes like crap. Nope, don't want that. Nope, don't like that. No way. How about, you got anything else? Or am I just going to go back to eating junk? So, but I do have a few things that I can start to do. Maybe next week I'll start fresh again. My 8-pound loss is a positive. I'm probably back up a pound or 2. I didn't weigh myself this morning because I weigh myself at a certain time in the morning, and if I forget, I've already put on weight from drinking and eating throughout the day. So I'm like, nah, don't even want to see that number. We'll wait till the morning. We'll see how it goes. But I'm already past my calorie limit for today. So, and I'm going to be hungry when I'm done talking to you guys. But I'm probably not going to eat a lot. In fact, I don't know. I just got to figure out some things. I'm not the guy that can just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to do this starting today. It all changes and it's all different. No. But I'm just trying different things. And I have a feeling that when I get myself a car, which is what I'm waiting for this check for, I feel like I'll have more of I'll be able to go to the grocery store whenever I want to go and things like that. And I'll be a little bit more, I don't know, like if I decide on a whim, I could just go, I want to go eat something else. I got salads in the fridge actually right now. If I'm going to eat something tonight because I'm feeling a little bit hungry, I've got salad. I got 2 pre-made salads sitting in the crisper right now. So that's what I would do, because it would only be 200-300 calories for that. And that's about the amount so it would be something healthy for the day. But I did take home a stack of cookies from the bakery on Saturday, and I knew that was, or Monday, and I knew that was a mistake. We had a bad batch, and by bad batch, it just meant we couldn't sell them, but we could eat them, and they're fine. And so I had these boxes. I had like cookies this big in a box in my backpack, and they've been in the freezer all week, and I can only eat one at a time. They're so big. But I did that every day this week for breakfast, so that was not a good way to start the day. But now we got 10 people in the chat. That's about normal. We got a few participants. And how's the bicycle maintenance been lately? Fine. Bicycles are in good shape, tippy top. In fact, that reminds me, I joined this thing called Amazon Vine, where they'll send you things for free, products, in exchange for you leaving a review. And I wanted to do where I take these things and I do a review on Amazon, but also do a review on the YouTube channel. Turns out Amazon will check on you, and if they catch you doing reviews of those products on your YouTube channel, they'll kick you out of the program. But you get free stuff to try out if you leave a review, and you have to leave a certain number of reviews, or eventually if you don't leave any reviews and you just take stuff, they'll kick you out. But as long as you review a certain number of products and you get a certain amount of time, etc., as long as you do it, they'll keep giving you free stuff. And you'll have to pay income tax on that at the end of the year, though. So you don't want to like just gobble up everything that you can get your hands on. And there's a lot of junk. Like you go through this website of what they have, and it's just page after page after page of junk. But then you get really, like, sometimes really cool things show up. And under the bicycling category, I've been picking up a few cool things. I'm getting a trunk bag for my bike and an under the saddle bag, like really nice stuff. And they're on the way. I don't know when they're coming. I picked up a kit that has 2 foldable tires, 2 tire levers, 2 rim strips, and 2 inner tubes. And it's a package that they sell, and it's all Chinese stuff. But I think it's like $45-50 for the whole set if you buy it. But I got this sent to me for free. So I've got two extra tires for the Red Rocket. So I've got 4 spare tires now for the Red Rocket, 2 good ones, and 2 of these Chinese ones that are in this box, plus extra tire levers. They have so many inner tubes on this Amazon Vine, I never have to pay for inner tubes again. If I'm running low on inner tubes, I can be like, ding, 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 just get some sent to me. Do a review. They may not be the best stuff, but they'll be all right. Inner tubes are, I've got some really lightweight inner tubes. And then I've been finding like GoPro camera mounts. So I got a GoPro mount for my backpack strap, it looks really nice. I'm gonna use it. The camera will mount to the strap of the backpack, and it'll be. I'd rather have a chest strap, and I might be able to kind of make something that I can put around my chest and then clamp this thing to it and have a chest mount. But I got to play around with it. Tim says, I love watching your videos, not complaining that the daily videos you post are usually about 10 to 14 days behind, but will you ever get to the same week as you record and post a video? Just wondering. I'll get to that because I think I should, but so here's what happened. When I was homeless, I could do it every day, but I'm homeless, right? So it was easy. What else do I got going on? I'm not under the bridge smoking crack all day or doing meth, and I'm not, I'm looking for a job. I would go on job interviews and do different things, but generally speaking, I wasn't putting any effort into them. I wasn't putting keywords, descriptions, meta tags, all that stuff. It took me a long time to come up with a thumbnail image design for the videos to try and help, because thumbnails are important if you want to build traction. So it was easy to do a video every day when I was homeless. But then I came to Houston and it wasn't easy because now I'm doing stuff. I got other things going on. And so I went a while where I was only posting like once a week, and the views and everything, YouTube will kill you if you do that. If you stop, like if I stopped putting up a video and maybe did it once a week or every other week, YouTube's already put the foot down on me. They'd put it down even harder if I stopped doing that. So when I was living in the tool shed, I was trying to do videos every day, or at least keeping them within a reasonable time. But when the slumlords started messing with me on purpose, I would record videos about what's going on, but I would wait and put them up live, 7 days later or a week later, just in case if that guy was watching the YouTube channel, he wouldn't know what I'm up to on any given day. Like he wouldn't be able to watch the YouTube. I could talk about it with you guys, and then I could, at the same time, I could, keep him off the trail, because I didn't tell you guys didn't know I found a new place until a week or two after I found a new place, and it was already paid for and everything. But it gave me a way to talk to you guys without having to worry about if the slumlord had figured out that I found a new place to live when you guys did. That's like old news. I already got the key by the time you guys knew. And so I just kind of did. And then what happened is I move in here, and this whole delayed staggered video thing is allowing me to put up a video every day, or just about every day, but I don't have to do it every single day. So there's a benefit there for me, because I can shoot a bunch of videos throughout the week whenever I have time. And then one afternoon, I can set aside, take all the videos that you recorded and put them out, upload them to YouTube, bang, 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 put all the keywords, descriptions in, put a thumbnail image on it, do all the stuff you got to do. And it just sucks because they do come out 10 days after I record them. So what are the things so what do I do then? Do I just not tell you the day that I record it and just pretend that it's today? Nobody would know. Nobody would know that, oh, that's 10 days ago. But I always tell you what date it is on the video, just so that, to keep it real. I don't feel like I'm putting anything in these videos that's like breaking news that you need to know up to the minute what's going on. That's what the live stream is for. So maybe the answer is do more live streams and do fewer of the videos. That might be an option. And then when I do videos, maybe do better job editing videos and make the topics things that I can spend some time on, put some notes in, do some good editing and stuff like that. but do the live stream instead of the daily video blog. I don't know. I'm trying to kind of figure this out as I go. And this kind of leads, this is the perfect time to talk about the channel memberships. So if you weren't here last week, I was talking about how YouTube offered me a $600 bonus to turn on channel memberships. And then for the first 30 days after I turn that on, anybody that signs up for a channel membership, I get a $6 bonus from YouTube on top of the channel subscription. And so that's free money. And I've done homework on this. There does not seem to be any stipulations, any strings attached. Like you have to have this many members in this much time. It's all I got to do is turn it on and make the money. So even if I turn it on and 2 months goes by and nobody signs up, I would still get 600 bones in my bank account, and booyah, it's free money. Who would turn that down? So I'm going to turn it on. And last week I was talking about, like, what can I do? What would be worthwhile to have a membership for this channel? Like, what would be worth having? And so we talked about some different things, and you guys gave me some ideas and some thoughts, and I'm just going to go through all of it. I did take some notes before today. So the first thing, the one I came up with, like having a photo of the month club, was it's a no-go because I did the homework. So if I had 2 photo of the month club tiers, and let's say the first tier, every month you get, so each tier you get different stuff, and after a certain tier you get a photo of the month. I send you a print in the mail. So let's just say that tier costs $30 a month for the photo of the month club, plus you get everything below it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm not going to do this, so I'm just telling you why. So if I were to send everybody in the photo of the month club who spends $30 a month to get an 8x10 or a 10x10 or some that's about the size print in the mail, UPS or UPS ground or USPS, I don't know but it would be a lower cost shipping. After all is said and done, you're paying $30 and I'm keeping $9 because YouTube takes 30% off the top. And then I've got to pay the photo lab for the print, and then I've got to pay for the shipping. And by the time it gets into your hands, I'm left with $9. And then I got to pay income tax on top of that at the end of the year. So I lose even more. So I'm down to like $6, right? And so then, okay, let's say there's another tier. Let's say the size of the print is 12 by 24, which is a 2x1, 1x2 panorama size, 12 inches by 24 inches. And I charge $60 a month. And it's on photographic paper. It's not on regular paper. It's a nice frameable print. But if I'm charging $60 for that, for the membership, by the time YouTube takes their 30%, the photo lab, I pay for the print and pay for the shipping to get it to you, I got $10 left in my pocket. And then I got to pay the income tax on the $10. So it's even less than, you were down to like $7, but when it's all said and done. And so I'm like, that's a lot of money to not make, to charge that much for something. Plus, I have to go through the logistics of getting all of your shipping addresses, your mailing addresses. You might not want to give that out. And I understand that. And so I was just like, no. If I want to do this, there's got to be a better way to do it outside of YouTube. I can just send you somewhere and say, if you want to subscribe to a photo of the month club, if I did this, I would do it elsewhere. I would talk about it, but I'd send you somewhere else. I wouldn't do it through YouTube because that extra 30% would make a big difference in terms of making it worthwhile. And I could even charge less. But in order to make $10, I'd have to charge $60. Or in order to make $9, I'd have to charge $30. And I'm like, that's nah. So what do all the other channels do on YouTube with these memberships? So the first thing that is easy to do, the loyalty badges and the custom emojis and all that. Supposedly, I can create custom badges and emojis and stuff and stickers or whatever, and you guys can use them, but they can be custom made. Like I can design my own. I don't have to just, they're not just some stuff that YouTube hands you. I don't know how it works. I don't know. This is what I found out so far. Channel members could get, I could put a credits at the end of the videos. Here are all the people that support the channel. Boom, 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 whatever it is. Let it play. Let it ride. Maybe, maybe there's a contest. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I don't know. These are like just the basic things. The number one thing that I thought would be worthwhile, that would make a couple bucks a month worth it, would be not just having early access to videos. So this goes right back to what Tim was saying about the videos coming out too late. So let's just say I get to a point where I can make a video go live a couple days after I shoot it. And it's going to be an adjustment to my rhythm. But, whatever, figure it out, make the video shorter, do something there. I don't know. So what if I put up a video and every time a video comes out on the channel, the members of the channel can watch it for 3 days before anybody else can see it, but no ads. So you can just watch the video without having to watch any ads if you're a member. And I think YouTube makes that easy to do. So when I upload a video, I can say, release this members only first, no ads, and then 3 days later, release it to everybody else with ads. And I think I can configure all that stuff when I upload the video and do all the metadata and tagging and all the stuff that you got to do before it goes live. I haven't verified this other than researching it and asking around and reading and researching it. But supposedly that's how it works. I can't just put videos up where I would love to have it where if you're a member of the channel, you come and watch a video and there's no ads on any videos for members. But anybody who's not a member has to watch the ads. Unless you have an ad blocker. I don't care what you do. I use ad blockers. So if I'm using Brave to go to YouTube, I'm not seeing any ads either. So I get it. I'm cool with that. But the only way that I can see that I could make this work is early release of videos for members to see first without ads. So I know that a 2-hour video there's ads. I don't know how many, but I know there's a lot. And I see other people's videos when I'm using the app on my phone or a browser that doesn't have an ad blocker. It's boom, 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 boom sometimes with the ads. So being able so like if you're a channel member and you pay like $2 a month or whatever it is, you don't have to watch the ads when the videos come out as long as you watch it within the first 3 days. And I could do members only live chats. Now we got 14 people in the chat right now, and we've got, a few active members. What does it say? Number of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people are participating with comments or whatever. I don't know if I'm seeing everybody's comments, but it says there's 4 participants and 14 people watching. So that's a small audience to begin with. So if I did a members only chat, there would be like 3 people there. But one thing that could be cool is if I did a members only chat and there's only 2 or 3 people there, and you want to ask me something like, how do we do this? Or how do I do that? Like a computer tutorial, something where I share my screen and show you how to do something. I don't know what that would be. Tech tips, computer advice, walk you through something that, kind of like a one-on-one classroom kind of thing. But you guys could just kind of throw out what you want to learn or what you want to do. Like a members only video live stream could be cool just because we could do things that were more like, what do you want to do? What do you want to, do you want to learn something? Do you want to poke my brain? Do you want some ideas for something you're working, like some design ideas or just some creative brainstorming or whatever the heck, basic photo editing? Yeah, I could do a Photoshop class or something like that. But I don't know how many people are interested in that who watch this channel already. But yeah, anything like that. Totally cool. I could show you all kinds of apps that you might like to use for your own purposes, whether it's photo editing or just note taking, or like how to use a Miro whiteboard for free, or just some of the apps that I use, or just different things I do, or I don't know, there could be something there. I could put out discount codes so that members have discount codes. They could go to my Etsy store or the store that's linked to the YouTube channel, which has the same stuff. And that would motivate me to get more stuff in the store. It's more like I just don't have time to list a photo on Etsy and do all the stuff that I have to do. It's like an hour per photo. And then it's like 20 cents every cup. I don't remember. It's 20 cents for a listing fee, and and you have to pay every so often. I forget. It's like a couple months, maybe. I don't know. It's not a lot of money, but I'm not really doing anything on Etsy. I've sold some prints, but that's kind of slowed down, and Etsy doesn't. I'm not getting any search engine love from Etsy themselves, and I think I want to do things a little bit different on there. I think I made the selections too complicated for people. I think I got to dumb it down and make it like just a few different options for prints. I don't really know what I want to do there yet, but I'm thinking it through. I'm trying to think of like making it user friendly and not confusing people and just putting it out there. High end, low end. It's kind of like that whole adage of, I always use this example when I'm talking to people about starting a business, whether they're starting a business or whether I'm thinking of something. Is it easier to find one person to give you $1 million, or is it easier to find 1 million people to give you $1? And either one, I mean, it's a kind of you really can't come up with an answer to that question very easily, because, getting one person to give you $1 million, that's like you own a construction company and a client hires you for $1 million to build this thing. And out of that $1 million, yeah, you got one person to give you $1 million, but what do you got to do to get that $1 million? And how much do you have left over when it's all said and done, and blah, blah, blah. But how hard is it to start a business where 1 million people give you $1? Because, people are much more willing to give up $1 than $1 million. Most people don't have $1 million, but most people have $1. But what do you got to do? So it's a fun question to answer, because there is no easy answer to that question. And so I'm kind of I feel like in my situation, get 1 million people to give you $1 is easier than one person to give you 1 million. But if we're not even talking about $1 million, but I do website design, and I get paid good money for doing these projects, and they're definitely more expensive than, a YouTube membership, you know what I mean? So, but I'm just trying to come up with lots of different ways to make small amounts of money, I guess, none of which could support me for a year. But once I get established in I'm trying to find 6 different things that'll each account for 20% of my annual income. And if I can make enough money from all 6, then nobody can shut me off. When you have one job and you make good money, you got them golden handcuffs and you're chained to that desk, and if you lose that job, you lose everything. All your eggs are in one basket. And I don't want to live like that again. If I can come back from this nightmare living to where I have multiple things going on that all pay some of my bills, I don't have to make a fortune. But if I make a few bucks here, a few bucks there, and have 20 different things that all account for a good annual pay that I can live off of, then somebody could get mad and shut off one of them, and I've got 5 more. So you only took 20% of my income, and I can replace that with something else or do something here or there or whatever. So, and I think everybody should try to do that, especially in this day and age where you can start a business on the internet with no money, and you can just sell something, you make something and put it on Etsy, or there's so many different ways that you can do it, but none of it's easy. Don't be convinced that you can just do it and it's easy. I think anything that you try to do along those lines, once you get into it, you find out it's harder than you ever thought it would be. But if you stick with it over time, it will pay off. So discount codes, that was a long-winded thing about discount codes on an Etsy store for photography and art. I could set up, because it's integrated with YouTube, a members only chat room on Discord, which is it's like a message board / chat room / hangout on the internet. And so you go and you have a Discord account, and you can go to the members only, whatever this is called, chat room. And it's only for members of this channel to hang out with each other and talk like we're doing right now in the chat on the video chat. But it's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we can all just kind of shoot the shit and hang out there. And it's private, so you can say whatever you want, and you can just, it could be a hangout. Now, I've got a small audience right now, but I've seen other creators, podcasters, things like that have something like this. And there was a prepper community once, like preparedness. This is great. It's called the Survival Podcast. The guy's name is Jack Spirko. It's a cool dude. I used to listen to his podcast a lot. Sometimes he gets under my skin. Sometimes I think he's a dick. But, I'm a dick. So it is what it is. He had a message board associated with his show. And I met people in person all over America from that podcast's forum. And I got into lots of good conversations with people. I learned all kinds of cool things. I contributed back and forth things that I knew. But preparedness, that's what it was. Prepper. Food, guns, Band-Aids, all the things that you need when the lights go out, the food runs out, the shit hits the fan, they say. That was a good community of people. And then he shut it down. And he left it up as an archive because there was so much stuff in it, useful information and whatnot. But he shut it down to where people can't go in there and post anymore. It's a dead community. But the nice thing about Discord, if you use that, I would not have to maintain anything. Discord maintains all of that. And if it's private, I don't know how much Big Brother Discord's going in there, and I don't think they're censoring people on a private thing. And it's tied with YouTube, so that I believe, I won't know until I look into this myself, but Discord will check YouTube to see if the person who's coming in to the chat is a member of the channel. And if they're not, it won't let you in. And so that's another thing that you could get as being a channel member. And there are some other things that they suggest and other ideas I've seen here and there. But that was the best list that I could come up with just to start out with. And if it was $2 a month, it can be anywhere from 99 cents up to $500 a month from a drop-down menu when I'm setting it up. And I can have 1 tier, 2 tiers, 3, 4, maybe 5 different levels of membership. And you get stuff with each level. You get, for level 2, you get everything that level 1 comes with, and this and this and this. I would probably just do a basic level, 1 level, couple bucks a month, and it has all the stuff. And it's basic stuff that YouTubers do. And I think the best benefit, in my opinion, would be watching the videos when they come out without commercials for the first 3 days that they're on the channel. But then that's going to motivate me. Like who was it? Tim C said, and other people, lots of people have complained about me putting up videos 10 days late after, I record a video on Tuesday and it goes up next Wednesday. That would probably motivate me to change something so that I can do it. So I can still put videos up on I would hope a daily basis or multiple times a week, and have them be more timely. And I've got all these different ideas. I feel like instead of just rambling about 20 different things in a 2-hour video, break up what I want to talk about into different categories, have like a prison stories category, tinfoil hat category, bicycling stuff category, chaos to comeback category. And I had some other ideas for categories. Let me just see if they're in my notes. Maybe like Jesus and the good Lord, that could be its own category. I know we talked about doing Bible study live streams. Could do like a cooking category. I don't want to do so many different things that I don't get anything done. But maybe just start up a couple of just have a few different topics, and I'd come up with a unique thumbnail for each topic instead of this chaos to comeback thumbnail. And I only use that thumbnail because I have a template and I can just bang them out fast. I do not spend a lot of time. I come up with a title, I make sure it fits in the box, type it out, send it, save it, upload, done. So it has to be fast and systematic, or I won't have time. So if I did shorter videos but broke up the topics into different videos, and I don't know, I got all kinds of ideas. So right now the idea is turn this thing on so I get $600 from YouTube. Put like I'll just charge I'll make it $2 a month. I really don't think it's worth any more than that. I mean, if I'm being honest to myself. And I mean, here you go. If you can get Netflix with commercials for $9 a month, but Netflix and everything that's on Netflix, and it's $25 or it's $18 a month now without commercials. And most of these streaming sites are about $20 a month if you want to not have commercials. Everything that's on Netflix, everything that's on Disney Plus, everything that's on whatever other streaming platform, it ain't worth it to watch my YouTube channel for $20 a month. When you can get Netflix for that. So about $2, all right, yeah, $2, and I could do 2 live streams a week, one for the members, one for the riffraff, the public, and so just go from there. I'm not greedy. I'm just looking for a way to, have YouTube send me a check every month. And if and like I said, I had no intention of turning this on, to be honest, but YouTube keeps sending me an email, and I finally paid attention to it one day, and I'm like, wait a minute, $600. I had ignored this thing for like a month, and they just kept banging me with these emails, and I just, yeah, whatever. I just didn't read it. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, what's this? And I click on it. I'm like, you get out of here. You're just going to hand me $600 to flip a switch. All right, may as well. So, but I think, the combination of maybe doing videos that are more focused, that aren't dated in terms of the time. Exactly. $600 is $600. For me, that's like a fortune. Do that twice and I'm a thousandaire finally, and that's like a car payment. And I'm not going to have a car payment. I'm going to take the money that's coming my way, and I'm going to buy a car that's in that budget, and I still got to make sure I can pay the car insurance and, whatever else it needs, and the paperwork and the BS, and hopefully be able to go camping for a few days. That's my goal. Sometime in September, go sit on the beach in Galveston for 3 days, or go to the national forest and sit in the woods for 3 days by a fire, no cell phone, no nothing. No YouTube. I'll probably shoot a YouTube video and then upload it when I come back, but I want to do more editing. I have time to sit in front of a camera and talk all day, or at different points of the day. I don't have time to sit and do nice editing and professionalism. But if I made the videos short, half hour or less, then the editing is not such a problem. So I don't know. I've got all these ideas flying around. I just don't know what to do exactly yet. But YouTube just gave me a nudge and said, "Here, we'll give you $600 to do this. Try it." Okay, fine. Let's do it. And so those were all the different things. And I'll put this together and I'll launch it within the next, I got to do it by the end of August. I have until September 5th, but I'll have to do it tomorrow. I'll have to do this tomorrow. I'll just set up something and it'll be there. And Robot says, don't overdo it with the editing. Your raw videos are good. I think, yeah, I agree with the balance of editing versus, so I watched a video today or yesterday where this guy was talking, the Bob and Brad physical therapist channel. They have I forget how many thousands of videos. And they did this for 14 years. They're the two most famous physical therapists on the internet. That's their slogan. And they're pretty cool dudes. I've watched their videos whenever I have an ailment. And I've fixed my broken back more than once from doing what they say. And but they grew a huge following, millions of subscribers. Well, Bob died. And Bob's son did a story, a video about his dad on that channel. And the over editing of when people are just talking gets on my nerves. When you're doing a podcast and you cut out all the times that you go, and you mess up or you say something wrong, or you're trying to shorten it up to fit into a certain time span or whatever. If it's audio only, you can do it. And if you're good at it, and I know how to do that, I've done that. I did that with a podcast. You would never know that this is an edited audio track if you know where to cut, how to blend the edges in together so that it's just seamless. You can edit down an hour-long conversation down to 20 minutes and make it sound like you were always on point and you never make a mistake, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as soon as you do that in a video, you get hard cuts every time you do that, and it's visual. And so someone will be talking and then it just blinks and they're over here and then they're over here and then they're like this and then they're like that. And they're talking and it's like you can see this person took 3 sentences and there's 10 cuts. Cut. And it's like, dude, you can't even speak 3 sentences without screwing up to the point where you had to chop it up into 10 pieces and put it together. You can make the audio smooth so that if your eyes are closed, you wouldn't even know. But when you see those cut, you can't do the same thing with the video unless you can hold your head perfectly still and have your eyes and your mouth and everything in the exact same spot for the whole video. Every time you do one of those little cuts, a lot of YouTubers do this. So many YouTubers do this, and it kind of drives me nuts. As long as they're talking about something that I'm interested in, I'm okay. I'll let it slide. I'm not going to be like, yo, you shouldn't do that or whatever. But there is a difference when you're just listening to someone talk for a half hour without any cuts or editing at all. That's just them in the camera versus somebody who has their fancy microphone at their desk and they're right, and they got the ring light, so they got the circle reflection in the middle of their eye from the fancy ring light, because they don't know how to put the light in the right spot to keep the reflection out of your eyeball. I had a little YouTube studio at my old house when the FBI came. I had a backdrop, I had 3 lights set up, and I had 2 cameras. One camera would hold me off to the corner, like down here or over here somewhere, kind of like in here, so that I could put a slide over here, kind of put graphics over here, and my head would be like down here. And then the other camera had a close up of me kind of filling the frame, kind of like this size. And I could just record with both cameras running simultaneously. And then in the edit, I could just switch from one to the other. I could put both video tracks on the same, I had a clapboard, cut, and then the clapboard makes it so you can line everything up. So the audio, I had a separate audio track because I had a nice microphone, 2 cameras, backdrop, nice chair, the whole thing. And so I could record 2 video tracks at the same time, plus a better quality audio track. And then the clapboard makes it super easy. You just line it all up in Premiere, the sound of the clap along with the frame of the video where the clapboard goes like this. And then it's all on one stream. And so I can just switch back and forth which view I want the camera to show when I'm talking. And then I can put like a little graphic off to the side over here while I'm talking and show the zoomed out view, and then go back to the close-up view and back and forth. And it was easy. That made the editing side of that easy as hell. And I wouldn't have to cut up the audio or cut up the audio so much. Like if I made a mistake talking, I might pull out the clapboard and start over with something, but I didn't go to like the micro level of, if I was a woman and walked into your place with all this camera equipment, I'd have some questions. I was a photographer. I had 20 something cameras, lenses all over the place. I had a whole closet full of camera equipment, and I had tons of photography. So by the time a girl's coming to my house, she's already seen my website full of my photography. So she knows that I'm going to have cameras all over the place. Plus, my YouTube studio was out in my office, which was it was a separate building from the house on the other side of the yard. You walked into there, it looked like an office. I had a whole desk, an area with my desk and my workspace, and the other corner and the other side was camera studio. And it was also a photography studio. I had a big table. I could do product photography. I had the lights and everything. So I was dabbling with doing product photography for people, and I could just I had a place to set products on the table, the lighting and everything. And then it was easy. I made it easy by having all that stuff. I had a space dedicated for it. So no, girls didn't think it was weird. It'd be different if you walked into my bedroom and there's all these lights and there's like 5 or 6 cameras pointed at the bed, right? Now you're like, wait a minute, is he one of those producers? So that might have been a problem. But no, I mean, it was all right. But I mean, the funny thing is I had all that stuff set up, and then I just would hem and haw, and I never actually did anything with it. I would be like, oh, I'm going to do it now. And I was such a perfectionist that I would never actually put anything out on YouTube. I tried it like 5 or 6 times, and being homeless with a cell phone, this is the phone. This is the one. Being homeless at a park bench, I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. And I just started talking into the phone. And that's what I needed to do 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Just do it instead of trying to make everything perfect. And, I don't even care now if I come in with a face full of beard hair that I haven't shaved off for 7 days. Back then, I'm like, oh, I got to fix my hair. I'm acting like I'm freaking Ron Burgundy or something. And I was such a perfectionist and they really say perfection is the enemy of done. And that was me to a T with the video stuff back then. I just wouldn't do it. I would do it, but then I'd be like, no, I'm not putting this out. No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this different. I'm going to do something else. And I would just do stuff, mess around, and then I wouldn't do anything with it. I would go on adventures and camping trips, and I would take my son on adventures. I'd shoot a whole bunch of video with the intent of putting something together, and then I wouldn't. And like a lot of people do this. I know a lot of people who fell into that same rhythm of they got all the equipment to do it, and then they just kind of had that writer's block of what do I do? And I don't know what to do. And every time they start to do something, I don't know, this isn't any good. It really, for me, it was like you hit rock bottom in life. You're homeless now. You got a freaking phone and a backpack full of stuff. Fuck it. What could go? How could life get any worse than this? And that's what got me to do it. That's how I was able to talk myself into putting something on YouTube. And unfortunately, that was probably not the best motivation. I would not recommend going to federal prison for 2 years, followed by becoming homeless, to inspire you to get off your ass and do that. That's not the right way. But for me, that's kind of just perfection was out the window at that point, and it was just whatever happens, happens. Whatever it is, it is. I don't care. We'll just see what happens, and it kind of took off a little bit at the beginning there. And so that's what I'm at. That's where I'm at with the channel memberships. I'm gonna mess around with that tomorrow. I got so much stuff to do. It's unbelievable. And my energy level, I think I keep saying this, and I think it's true. And when I looked at my body battery graph for, man, what I could share my screen. There's nothing like private here that I care about, because it does tell the story a little bit about why I'm burned out right now. I'm just going to pull up the right screen. I'm going to hit a button here, because this will update where I'm at today. If I just do this real fast. Ding, ding, ding. Come on. Sync. There you go. Hit that refresh button. Yeah. So yeah, this shows. All right. This will be fun, because I couldn't share my screen last week, but I fixed it at the end of the show last week. So I can share all kinds of stuff. So this is my body battery right now, today. This is 1 day's worth. Oh, it says right now I'm at a 5. I got 5% left today. And you can see all these red bars here are stress. And it says I'm stressed. I'm always stressed out. That's rare for that to be lower than 50, to be honest. And I don't feel like I'm that stressed out right now, but they say that they use heart rate variability and a whole bunch of other things to say whether you're stressed or not. But when I was looking at this in more detail, I can go back to like 7 days. So my highest energy was the 22nd, which was, well, what was the 22nd? Was last Friday. And I felt pretty good last Friday. It says I woke up at a 95 and I dropped down to 13 before I went to bed. But then once again, Saturday, I go to the bakery and I start out the day at 37. And by the time I check in, by the time I'm punching the time clock and I've worked 1 hour at the bakery, I'm down to a 5. And you can see for the rest of the week, Sunday, I had a little bit of an upswing. But then Monday, I'm back down to nothing. Tuesday was even worse. Wednesday, etc. And then I can go back and look at 4 weeks worth on this thing. And you can see there's like a pattern to it. When I'm at the bakery, it's low. Then I get a few days of recovery, and it kind of just goes up and down and up and down. But if I go all the way back to February when I moved into the tool shed, this was the first week. I'm going to go. All right, so February February was very much up and down. Like here's 100%. Somehow I hit 100. That's the only time that's ever happened. I was 100% charged. Like the cell phone was left in the charger all night long, and I got a full charge. And then the next day, I'm down to that. And so you could see in February, there was a lot of up and down. And it really kind of did follow the bakery schedule and having some days with a lot of energy and some days with almost no energy. But there were a lot of ups in the month of February. And it was a roller coaster ride. I do remember that month was crazy. Then March to April, kind of like this. I still had some good days, but there weren't as many high energy days, and it was kind of lower. And it kind of matched with what was going on during that period of time. And then you see from the middle of April down to the middle of May, I just dropped. And this is when I was shooting all those videos from the tool shed talking about all the BS going on and the slumlord problems and the fact that I got to go find a new place. And this just shows how stressed out I was during that period of time. And my energy was like low, much lower than it was a couple months before this. I'm looking at a 4-week block there. And then I go, okay, from the middle of May to June, you can see throughout May, it's still pretty low. Like the highest I can charge my battery was a 66%, your battery that runs your body or whatever. And then it's low again. And then boom, this is the day I moved into the new place. May 30th was my first day in the new place. May 31st was the first day in the new place. And June 1st, I'm at an 81 all of a sudden. And you can see that there's more highs than lows starting with the day I moved into this place. I can see it right here, all these low marks. And then there's more high marks after I moved in here. It was like instant. And then I see after I moved in here, there's some ups and downs, but there's definitely more ups, or there's like an equal amount of up and down. It never goes up to 100%. And I've been talking about for the last month feeling burned out. And as I go, now I'm into August. And now look, I've got like even all these days where I'm just no energy. A couple of peaks there, no energy from July 7th all the way to the 14th. Little bit of energy through here, nothing. A little bit there, then nothing. And now we're at like August 1st, a little bit of a peak there, but it's kind of like I can see these, I can kind of remember what was going on through these weeks, and it matches up because I do go through a few days where I feel better, and then boom, I'm right back down at the rock bottom. And I think what's going on is, what's the word? I don't know if there's a word for it, but I was living in fight or flight mode mentally from April 1st, April Fool's Day, when I was in prison on April. They called me down to the prison office on April Fool's Day of 2024 and said, "You're going home today." And then an hour later, they're like, "Oh, never mind. You got to stay until tomorrow because we can't get you a bus ticket on time." April Fools. Like, imagine that. Imagine that shit. The worst April Fool's joke ever pulled on you was, "You're going home from prison today." Oh, no, you're not. April Fools. That happened. So April Fool's Day all the way through June 1st, when I moved into this place, every single minute, I'm in fight or flight response mode, ready to fight, ready to flight, ready to fight, ready to flight, just constantly on edge, every single day, every single minute of the day, just waiting for the next shoe to drop, one thing after the next, whatever. And then I moved into that tool shed. Whoever, I forget who came up with that. Was it UJS? I don't remember, but the tool shed, living in there was crazy. And it wasn't until I moved into this place where I am right now that I finally had that moment of, I can finally relax. I can relax here. And that's made such a big difference. It's quiet here. Amazon delivered a package today. They came right up to the front door while I was sitting right here. I can see the front door right there. It's right next to me. I never knew they came and left. I just saw an email saying your package was, I'm like, what? I go to the door, there's a package sitting there. They drive the Amazon van right up to my door. And like right in front, they don't even get out of the van half the time. They can reach over and just put the package on the steps without even touching their feet to the ground. That's how close they can get to the door. But it's so quiet here. And for some reason, this house has good soundproofing, or at least I don't hear a lot of noise. My neighbor, his car is 10 feet from the window here in the kitchen. I have never heard that guy pull in or pull out his car ever. I'll be sitting there doing dishes. I'll look up and there's a car. And I'm like, and I'm sitting right in front of the window and I'm doing dishes and I look up, car, where the fuck did that car come from? I never heard it pull in. I didn't even see it. I looked up, there's no car. I look down, I scrub a couple dishes. I look up, there's a car. How people drive past the, like, it's a fairly big property with a few different houses, small houses on it. And every one of these is rented out to somebody. And so there's people coming and going and whatnot, but I feel like I'm out in the country. I feel like it's quiet here. And it's the first time I've had a place since the day I came home from prison where I can just sit down and relax. And so I think being in prison for 20 months, I was locked up for 20 months, followed by a year and May, June, July, April, May, June, a year and 2 months, 14 months, 20, 34 months of fight or flight stress to the level you couldn't even imagine because you weren't in prison. What 34 months straight of the most obnoxious amounts of stress you can possibly imagine. And then I move into this place right here, and it's the first time in 34 months that I'm able to just sit down and relax. Like relax in a quiet space. And I don't got to worry about anybody. I don't got to worry about somebody coming into my place without me knowing, or I don't got to worry about what's going on out there, or I don't got to tiptoe around my best friend's house because it's not my place, or I don't got to worry about some curfew at a homeless shelter or living with some psychotic nut job or whatever. I don't got to worry about anything at all. I got a chair and a TV, and if I just want to sit and relax, I can chill. And I think that when I hit that level, my whole body just unwound like a spring, like when a spring has been wound up so tight and then it finally releases, it just goes, and it all comes out at once and it's just left hanging there. And so I feel like a spring that got wound up, cranked up, tightened and tightened and tightened and tightened for 34 months straight. And then a button was pushed and it all just went poof all at once and released all the tension all at once. And now I'm like, oh my God, like I'm worn out, and all of that fatigue that built up over that time that I couldn't do anything about is all pouring out now. And then a couple weeks ago, my phone crapped to the bed and I had to go hurry up and scramble to get a new phone. It wasn't a big deal. It all fell into place. But then the very next day, I get this letter in the mail saying this bank that I had no idea about has all this money that they want, that I'm supposed to claim by such and such date. And what? And I'm like, and that threw me off in a good way. No doubt. I mean, who wouldn't? That was a good thing. But it's like the tension that I was under just popped and it unwound all at once. And now I'm just like I'm feeling so much fatigue that it was just it all came pouring out at once. And so I think that I'm tired right now because I ride my bike 50 miles to go to a bakery every time I work there, and then I work 8 hours at a back-breaking job, and Garmin week after week says I burn 6,000 calories every time I do that. It's the same amount of calories I would burn going on a 120-mile bicycle ride. Maybe less, maybe more than that. So that's tiring. Go on a 120-mile bike ride tomorrow and see how you feel the next 2 days. You won't. You won't feel very good. You'll feel good that you got the exercise and there'll be benefits to that, but do that twice a week for a while and you'll actually it'll catch up to you. And I've got a foot problem right now. Every time I go on a bike ride right now, 2 of my toes are on fire. Like they hurt and I can't put power in the pedals. So I can go a certain speed, but I can't hammer down and go fast because my one foot is just a wreck. And the only thing that's going to fix my foot is to stay off the bike for a few weeks and then it'll probably go away. But right now I can't. So I'm hoping that I get this car soon. I just feel like it's time. God was like, you know what? You've put up with a lot. You've done a lot. You rode your bike 3,000 miles this year. You never missed a shift at the bakery, blah, 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 this and that, the other thing. Oh, by the way, here's a bunch of money that you had that you didn't know that you had, but here, I'm going to give it to you now. So now you can go to the next level. And I'm hoping that comes tomorrow. I've got the notifications from the post office. So when I wake up in the morning, I get the email telling me what's going to be in the mail today. I'm just hoping tomorrow I wake up and I see that check because that would be perfect. That would allow me to go to the bank on Saturday, drop that. I would go tomorrow, actually. If it came tomorrow in the mail, I'd go straight to the bank as soon as that check. As soon as I pull that out of the mailbox, I'm off to the bank. And that would just that would fix everything. All the big bills that are coming up. All the big bills that are coming up. Tomorrow's one, first and second. There's 3 big bills in front of me that I'm just oh, it hurts to even see that. And that's been stressing me a little bit this week. But I feel like it's all going to work out. So I'm not stressing too much. It's all timing. And I'm just God, please, just let it happen tomorrow. That would be awesome. If it doesn't, I'm not going to, lose my mind. But JS says, when you camp alone, you will have a great reset. I will. No doubt about that. I'm torn about whether to go out to the forest where there's no people around or go to the beach. In Galveston, there's a state park right on the beach. Some of the campsites, some of the tent campsites are 100 feet from the water. There's a little bit of grass between you and the sand. Typically, they don't, typically a place like that, you're not going to camp. You wouldn't want to camp on the sand. That gets annoying, but the beach is right there. And listen, you can listen to the waves or whatever. It's right there. I'd have to bring firewood because it's wide open space. There's no trees. So you're not going to find wood laying on the ground. And there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no place I could even go to scavenge firewood. If I go to the national forest, I can probably just take a saw and have firewood everywhere, and not have to take. So I'd probably have to go get some bundles from the drugstore, the grocery store, or whatever, and just fill the trunk with some bundles of firewood and burn that, which is fine. That's a lot. The median at age 45 to 53 have only $3 grand saved. Most people in America are living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody has retirement. That's a myth. That's a myth. Like, the average price of a house now in America is $450,000, and the average salary or the average annual income of an American is 40 grand a year. Who the fuck can afford to buy a house anymore? Like that? How do people? How do you even do that? I don't know how you do that. I mean, I'm not saying every house is 450 grand. That's the middle. That's the average. There's some that are a lot more, some that are a lot less. We know this, but I dig sheet says soak your feet in a gallon of apple cider vinegar for 30 minutes each. I promise you, just try it. I don't have a gallon of it. I don't know. I don't even have a bowl big enough for my, but that's something to think about. I can strike up the bathtub. I've got Epsom salt, essential oils, incense. And I've got this bathtub with like a recliner chair in the thing that does wonders. I feel like my foot problem right now is I have flat feet, severe flat feet that I've had since I was a kid. And so my ankles roll in. And I have shoes, and I always wear inserts for my shoes that keep my feet stable and I don't roll inward. But in my bike shoes and when I'm home, my big toes, all the pressure goes to the outside of the big toe. And so that's one of the problems. So now the outside of my big toe hurts like hell. And the only way to fix it, well, there's a few ways to fix it, but so I keep talking about yoga. I think so. One of the things I'm doing, like, I'm trying to mess around with my diet, but I can only make small adjustments, and I'm always going to go back and forth between eating good and eating like crap and back and forth. I'm never going to follow a plan. Just I'm 50 years old. I haven't done it by now. I don't think I'm going to start tomorrow. But I know that if I monitor what I eat and if I can get out of this little rut that I'm in, I gravitate towards healthier stuff. But when I'm stressed out, I gravitate towards the garbage. So the other problem with my foot is my pinky toe is smashed up against the outside of my cycling shoe. And so it developed a few corns. And I got the corns off my toe, but I clipped off too much of the skin last week. And so I got to the second layer of skin, and now that scabbed over, and now that hurts. And so I'm waiting for my pinky toe to heal, but there's still something weird there. But it's all just the kind of stuff that if I got off the bike and didn't ride a bike for a month, the pain would be all gone. It would be gone. I use this thing called Yoga Toes. Look it up. I'm not going to go grab them. They're over in the other room. You put these things on your toes, and it goes in between your toes, and it's this rubber thing, and it keeps your toes all like this, like that. And you sit there for an hour or two. I can sit there for 2 hours with these things on my feet. Some people don't like it. When you take them off your feet are like this. Your toes are all like naturally just spread out. You go walk around your house, it's like you got whole new feet. And so if you use these Yoga Toes, they're like $30 on YouTube or on Amazon. It helps keep my feet spread out like that. And I always try to wear shoes that have a wide toe box to keep my feet spread out. My toes spread out like that. Because that's how they're supposed to be. Most shoes cram your feet up like this, and it's like foot binding that they used to do to the Chinese women back in the day, so that the emperor could keep his hose in line or whatever. They would just, put their feet in these little things and make them so that they didn't even have toes anymore, and they're just walking around on stumps. That's basically what most shoes that we wear do to our feet these days. And they're just starting to come out with shoe brands that, like, from people who know that your feet are supposed to be like this and your toes are supposed to spread out. So I have, like I said, if I'm wearing shoes, when I'm at the bakery, the boots I wear, they have a wide toe. They're pretty comfortable, and I have the inserts. I have arch supports and stuff. But here, when I'm wearing my cycling shoes, I haven't been able to find the right stuff. And normally it's not a big deal. But right now, my feet, it started as a little problem. And because I'm riding so much, it keeps getting a little worse and a little worse. And so I'm trying different things. I've even got a different pair of cycling shoes I got for $15 on Facebook. And I'm going to try and wear those this weekend and see if that changes anything and gives me a different, even just change it up for a day or two. So I'm going to try out, I'm just trying different things, but really what it boils down to is I need to be off the bike for a number of days, weeks before it'll really heal. I had the same kind of crap going on with my feet because I walked over 500 miles when I lived in Jamestown while I was homeless. And when I came to Houston, I had so many sore spots and problems with my feet. It took months to go away, but I wasn't riding my bike more than 10 miles at a time. 5 miles to the bakery, 5 miles back, I'd go on a little walk. So I gave my feet a lot of rest, and they healed and they felt great. And now I'm abusing them again in a different way. And so they need to go away. Let's see what else. And then yoga. So I just saw a deal on Amazon. It was $20 for a nice yoga mat with 2 yoga blocks. And I'm like, do it. I keep looking for a yoga studio somewhere around where I live here in Houston. And I did find one today. I keep looking and I never find any, but then I found one in the Woodlands, and it's actually right on my way home if I take this one route home. And the prices, even though it's in the expensive Woodlands, the prices were kind of like normal yoga class prices. Either they had an $80 membership where you could go 4 times a month, once a week. And that would be $20 a class. That's normal. That's about the right price. Most places I've ever gone were about $20 a class, sometimes a little less. They also had, you could buy a 10-pack of classes, but it was $250, but you could go anytime you want for the 10 classes. But that ends up being $25 a class. So you're actually, I looked at it, and then I looked at like the schedule. Saturday afternoon they're closed, and Monday afternoons they're not running any classes right now. So those are the 2 days I would already be going past on my way home from the bakery. And so I'm like, nah. And then I'm like, I may as well. You can watch yoga there. I guarantee you there's 150,000 yoga workouts on YouTube for free. Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can watch yoga on there. There's tons of them. Yoga workouts. There's yoga on Netflix. All the video channels have yoga classes. And so you can just do it for free at your own home. So I got a yoga mat, and I'm going to do that. And that will help with my foot problem, that kind of a long circle, because yoga works on your feet. You do it barefoot, and you're supposed to spread out your toes for most of the poses. And there's a lot of poses and a lot of stretching of the feet and a lot of foot heel lifts and different things that your feet will get a workout. My toes always feel better after a yoga workout. I mean, that's why that toe spreader thing is called yoga toes, because it helps you learn, it helps you spread out your toes like you're doing yoga poses. And so that's a really good way to make your feet stronger. And I can tell you from experience, every time I would do yoga regularly, my left foot is worse than my right. Anytime we would do the one-legged poses where I could stand on my right foot, right now my right foot is the one that's in pain. But strength wise, I can stand on my right foot with one leg all day long and not lose my balance. And then you do the same pose on the left leg, and I couldn't do it at all. Not even for like 5 seconds. I would have to put my right foot down or touch the wall or do something to keep my balance because my left foot is so weak, it can't hold me up. But if I would do this, if I would go to yoga class once a week for a couple of months, my feet would get stronger. And you know you're getting stronger because a pose that you couldn't do 2 months ago, you're not having any problem with now. And you can stand. Or on my left foot, instead of losing my balance in 3 seconds, now I can hold the pose for like 5 to 10 seconds. And then I lose my balance a little bit. And I can bend over farther. I can stretch this way. I can do this pose better. You feel it in your body. And when you ride a bicycle all the time and you're not doing any other exercise, there's this, like, your gut and your abs don't really get a workout, but your glutes and your hamstrings and your thigh muscles, what are those called? The quads in your legs and your calves, and certain muscles in my body are like bodybuilder level from the cycling. But then I got this beer belly like a dad bod, and I've got my arms are weak, my abs are weak, and other parts of my body are really weak. And that's gotten worse since I started doing all the cycling, because all the exercise goes to these certain muscles for bicycling, and the rest of your muscles are just relaxed and neglected. But if you can go and do something, I used to play soccer and ultimate frisbee, which is a more total body workout. And I would do some other things and go to yoga classes. And anything that you can do to fix your core, you'll get back on the bicycle and you'll be a faster cyclist. And sometimes, like playing soccer did more to make me better at cycling than riding my bike ever would, because it just there was more conditioning and working on different muscles and things like that. Getting your abs in shape will help you on the bike in different ways that you really can't describe, but you'll feel it when you're on the bike. You'll feel stronger if you work on the muscles that the cycling doesn't do. And yoga is a good way to do it, because yoga works everything. Yoga to me is like going to the chiropractor, getting a massage, and going to lift weights and do calisthenics all at the same time. It's like 4 different things in one. If you go to a power yoga workout where you're doing a circuit, it usually starts out 20 minutes as chill. And then for 20 minutes, it's the most intense, holy crap thing you've ever felt in your life. And you feel like you can't keep up with it, and it's too much and it's too hard. And you're pouring sweat. All your clothes will be completely soaked. And it won't even be one of those hot yoga rooms. It'll just be normal temperature. And then the last 20 minutes, you're just laying on the ground, stretching and cooling down. And by the time you're done with that hour, it's like the most awesome feeling in the world. And then for like the next 2 or 3 days, I'll be sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden my neck will go kink. And it'll be like I just went to the chiropractor. Something popped back into place that had been off for months. And the same thing with my back, my lower back. You'll do a yoga pose, and all of a sudden you'll feel, and you'll be like you just went and got cracked at the chiropractor. And but because you're working on the muscles and you're actually fixing the imbalance, It's a permanent chiropractor. It's not like you go to the chiropractor, they crack you up, and then 2 days later you feel like crap again. If you keep going to yoga, your body will get adjusted and popped back into place without the chiropractor doing it. And it'll tend to hold from one to, it'll actually, the problems that you had will eventually go away because you're balancing your body back out and straightening everything out as you go. And so I got a yoga mat in a couple blocks, and the only thing I don't have is a strap, but I can find something. I got a strap somewhere. If the yoga workout says, "Hey, get your strap out and do this," I'll have something. I'll just get some paracord. I don't care. I'll find something laying around for that. So I'll be able to do yoga. And I don't have curtains in my room yet because curtains are expensive, man. People keep giving me ideas of what to do. I have curtains picked out. I know what I want. The windows are a weird size. It's just not. And I don't have the ability to just get in the car and go curtain. I could probably go to IKEA and find stuff in like no time and get what I want, come home, hang it up, be done. So one of the best moonshine fuel. What's up? One of the best all-around exercise machines might be the elliptical machine. If you see one on the side of the road, drag it home. I don't have any room for anything in this place like that. If I were to get an e-bike, I don't even know where I'd put it. I have my 2 bicycles in here. I don't even know where I'd put it. I don't know. There's nowhere I could even. Right now, I could stash one back there, but that area back there is going to be my. I'm going to have a workbench there, like a tool bench in that space between the fridge and the wall. I've got it all measured out. I don't know when I'm going to do it, and I might move out of here before I do it. I don't know, but I don't got room for exercise equipment. That's for sure here. I would get. I don't know if I'd get. I mean, if I had like a basement where I could have more stuff. I did have a house a long time ago in Pittsburgh that had this huge basement, concrete floor, but I put rugs everywhere. But it was huge. It was a bicycle shop, and that only took up half of the basement. And I had like 50 bikes hanging up. And I had a whole workspace for bicycle. I basically operated a bike shop out of there. And then I made the rest of it a gym. And I had a weight bench, and I had a stationary trainer to hook a bicycle up to. So you just one of the ones that you slide the back wheel in and ride. The ones that they have now are really cool. They have it's all computerized with a cassette, and you just slide the bike frame onto it, any bike frame. And within, it has to match the cassette and the spacing and everything. So a really old bike probably wouldn't do so well. The Wahoo makes them. There's a couple other brands, but they have video games now. Bike race video games where you have your trainer and your bike hooked up to it, and there's a bike race on TV, and you're racing against everybody in a virtual Tour de France or whatever. And and then the resistance, when you go uphill, the machine, gives you more resistance and whatnot. They're kind of weird. Copious says, static self-stick window film. I used it in my bathroom windows for privacy. It looks like frosted glass. In my apartment, when I came home from prison, the whole front of the apartment was covered in that. It's a long story as to what the whole front of the apartment was a giant window, but we covered it in that. Well, she covered it in that. That I would do. It would be like $20 for my window in the bedroom there, but I want to see out the window. So that film keeps you from being able to look out the window. I want to be able to open the curtain and see what's outside if there's something going on. So that's why If it came down to it, I would get the window film, but I'm holding out till I can get some cash for the curtains. I need like $60 to do the windows with nice curtain rods and good blackout curtains that look nice and everything. So I'm going to get a car, I'm going to get a bed, and some curtains. Those are like the three things that I'm planning on when this check comes. And like I already have the curtains picked out on Amazon, but if I can drive to IKEA or drive to like Bed Bath and Beyond, or if they got whatever it is, some store got some curtains, I'll go look around. Yeah, you're in Texas now. You should get a. It's too dangerous to ride a bicycle in Texas, let alone a horse. The only people that have horses are rich. It's like they make you believe that everybody in Alaska flies around on a Buddy Holly plane, landing on the ski slopes and stuff, landing out with the skis on the bottom of the plane, or the pontoon planes, or everybody's going hunting for moose out of a helicopter. That's rich people. So yeah, people in Texas, that a lot of rich people got horses here, yeah, but not broke ass motherfuckers. Nobody, you can't afford a horse. I can't even afford a cat. So I can't even afford a cat because I wouldn't want to, because the cat's going to get sick and it's going to have to go to the vet. Or what do? You put it out of its misery. I don't want to do that to a cat. I can't even take care of my kids, let alone an animal right now. So Copius says they have a reflective mirror film, like a one-way mirror that you can't see in or can't see. Yeah, I know about that. Like the interrogation room when you're getting, questioned by the police. Oh, that's a mirror. Let me check my hair. Yeah. And there's a group of people on the other side. But yeah, I got it in my head what I want to get. And it's just a matter of things keep coming up. And money's been really tight the last couple of months. And it's it's loose enough for me to get some things that I want versus things I need. I got a couple of things I want here and there. It just kind of boils down to, well, I want this thing more than the curtains, so I'll do that. And I'll push the curtains off another month, whatever. It is. It's the windows are so. One thing I've noticed about the windows here on the outside, they're like double pane glass, but they're the crappy ass cheap windows where once moisture finds its way in between the two panes, they get completely crappy. They get moisture inside, condensation, and then that dries and it cakes on, and then you get like minerals, and so there's this like crud in between the panes of the glass. And when you're outside looking into this place, you can't really see what's going on inside because of that. But when I'm inside looking out, I can see out the windows and I can see what's going on outside. So I'm not that worried about people looking in. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere. It's weird. I mean, I'm not in the middle of nowhere, but it feels like it where I am. It's very woodsy. It's very quiet. It's not like, I mean, there's a loud motorcycle going by right now, but you hear that like handful of times a day. You hear a loud vehicle go by, or a siren maybe. When I was living in that freaking tool shed, oh my God, it was nonstop. It was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wow, wow, woo, wow, just nonstop. I couldn't even hear myself think. This is like night and day compared to that. This is tolerable here. But I'll figure it out as I go. And one nice thing about this place being so small, I can't accumulate much. And eventually I'm going to move out of here and go somewhere else. And I'm not going to have to move that much stuff again. I got a few more things than I had before. I'll need like a U-Haul, like box truck if I want to make one trip instead of a cargo van. But I won't need much. I won't need more than a 14-foot box truck to fit everything in, even when I get a bed. And even if I get that work stand that I can't, over there, the tool bench, the workbench. It's like a workbench with pegboard on the back, a fluorescent light along the top, a wooden countertop, and then some shelves and drawers underneath. It's nice. I saw it on Amazon. I'm going to grab it. And then I'm going to put coin grip flooring underneath that goes across this whole area of the kitchen here. Because it's thick rubber flooring that will, if I'm working on bicycles and chemicals drip and bicycle lubricants and stuff like that, get on the floor. They won't get on the floor. They'll get on that rubber floor, and I can just wipe it up and clean it when I'm done. And I'll have plenty of room to work on bicycles there. And then the workbench will also give me a space to do other things like clean my cameras, take apart camera lenses and fix my cameras up, and just a bunch of stuff that's on a list that I want to do. But I've got so much stuff on my to-do list, I could never do it all. So I don't know. It's just, but I would like to have a workbench. And then when I move out of here, I just take that with me and set it up wherever I go. And if I end up moving back to Pittsburgh, I'll just sell the big. I'll try and move with a minivan again, and just sell or get rid of whatever doesn't fit in the minivan. Or if I have my own vehicle, get a U-Haul trailer that you tow. If I have the right vehicle that can tow something like that, and then fill up a vehicle with a tow trailer, and whatever isn't going to fit, just sell it as quick as I can on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, a month or two before I move, and just pick up new stuff when I get to Pittsburgh. But that's going to be some time. But if that's what God wants me to do, he'll give me a path to go back there. I don't feel like I'm going to spend the rest of my days in Houston. I like the weather, and I can't judge Houston. There's a lot of things I don't like about Texas. I'm not going to lie. A lot of things. I think Texas is an oppressive big brother police state, just like New York, just like California. The only difference is it's run by Republicans instead of Democrats, but they're just as bad. It's just as corrupt. They're friendlier to people with guns, but they're just, you can walk down the street in New York and smoke a joint. It's legal. There's weed stores in New York State now. You can just walk into a store and buy weed. Here in Texas, they've not only not legalized it, but they doubled down and made it even worse. Now you can go to prison. It's a felony to have a little bit of weed. And if you have a weed candy bar, like edibles, you get charged by the weight of the candy bar and not the actual weed. So you could have 3 candy bars that are weed candy bars, and you get caught with that in Texas. It's like having 2 pounds of weed, and they'll give you 10 years in prison or some shit. That's big brother police state right there. But New York is just as bad. New York is high taxes and no guns. You can't have weed in Texas, but you can't have a gun in New York. It's almost impossible to be a gun owner in New York. And if you do, having guns in New York State is a nightmare. That's why I liked Pennsylvania, because weed was pretty much legal and you can have any gun you wanted. Good. You could have both, the best of both worlds, and you didn't have Pennsylvania was not anywhere close to as big brother of a bullshit police state as New York or Texas or California or any of these, Massachusetts. But Texas is run by Republicans. They just do the police state different. But it's still an oppressive hellhole, in my opinion. I don't want to live here forever, but I'll take the weather. And I'm never allowed to own a gun again anyway, so I don't give a shit about guns anymore. Unless they change the law that says a convicted felon, after you've done your time and paid your debt to society if you're allowed to protect yourself again someday. And maybe if I'm allowed to have a gun again someday, then yay. But otherwise, I'm never allowed to hold a gun in my hand. That's 10 years in federal prison if you ever get caught with a gun. And they'll give it to you. If I were to 5, 10 years from now, if I were to get caught with a gun, somebody take a picture of me holding a gun, put it on social media, they'll come and get you. It's 10 years in federal prison, and they're not going to be nice about it. I know plenty of people. I met plenty of people who are doing 10 years in federal prison for having a gun as a convicted felon. And it could be any felony. You commit a financial crime with cooking the books at a bank, go to prison for a couple of years. It's a felony. Can never own a gun again. If you a DUI, a felony DUI conviction, never own a gun again. Any felony at all, you can never own a gun again. And they'll come after the federal government will bang you hard for that. That's like a minimum 10 years. Bang, it's like automatic. That's what you're getting. I know so many people who I met along the way of my journey who were doing 10 years for having a gun. Some of them may have, done, and some of them had done other things, and they got 10 years for the gun plus all the other shit they did. And maybe those people shouldn't be having a gun. I would, totally agree. Some of those people should not own guns ever again. But somebody who cooked the books at the bank or didn't file a tax return or some shit like that, and then they're banned from owning guns again when they didn't even commit a violent crime, that kind of, I could even, some people would argue I should never own a gun again because mean tweets, you threatened people, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't even, we can talk about that all day. I would like, I don't even know if I would disagree, but there should be a pathway to come back to having your rights again, because when you get convicted of a certain crime, when you get convicted of a felony, in my case, I'll be serving a life sentence for what I did in so many ways, because I'll never be able to get a good job again. I'll never be able to own a gun again. I can't vote. There's just so many different things. You lose all your rights for the rest of your life in some cases. And they're rights. They're not privileges. They're guaranteed. But, we can talk all day. The Constitution's not real. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like, you learn when you're a little kid, you got all these rights and shit. You'll find out when the FBI drives a tank into your house in the middle of the night. You'll find out how many rights you don't got. You'll find out within about a day how many rights you don't have. You don't have any rights. You have whatever they tell you you're allowed to have today until they take it away tomorrow. You don't got any rights. I mean, some people still think they do. They just haven't found out. So it's getting to be almost 2 hours here, and it's been a lot of fun. Looking through the comments to see if there's anything else to talk about before I get going. A lot of people sharing stuff about foot pain, the soaking your feet in vinegar, apple cider vinegar. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it. I need my apple cider vinegar for the fruit flies, at least for another month. I feel like they're on their way out. I feel like we've hit the peak of fruit fly season, and they've dropped off dramatically over the last week. I still see one here and there, but even the fruit fly, even this bug zapper I have in the window is not getting smacked. Anyone seeing new comments? Anyone posting? Nothing is showing in the chat. There's been some comments, but we only have like 8 to 15 people showing up to the stream tonight. So, yeah, but I've been seeing the comments as they roll. I haven't really seen any. I haven't had any issues or seen anything. The only thing that I have to soak my feet is my whole body, and that's the Epsom salts in the hot bath with some eucalyptus oil and baking soda. And I can mix that all up into a bath, chill. And that works pretty damn good. It's kind of like I don't have the energy right now to even go do that. I'm too burned out and tired to even like go into the bathroom and go through that hole and then sit there. And for me to sit in the tub for like half an hour without wanting to get out, I gotta put a video up or something. I gotta watch something on TV. So I gotta get my tripod with my phone holder and put it in there and then put something up on YouTube, like a half hour to an hour long video, something just so that I can have something to do while I sit in the tub. And or else I'm going to want to get out in like 10, 15 minutes because the water's too hot or whatever. And but right now I'm too burned out and tired to even do that. So possibly tomorrow, see how I feel. My energy has been zero this week. It's been just shot. This thing tells me, and I agree with it. And I just feel like it's a combination of the diet, too much exercise, too much. I should have less exercise more days a week instead of 2 body killer days, 2 days apart with the rest of the week left in a daze. And so I just feel like I've been slowly hurting myself all year long. And I can share my screen again. I'll go to Strava. This is fun that I can do this. My activities. Where's the dance? Here we go. Nope. That. So I got a Strava account and I can look at all of my bike rides. This is where I log anything that has to do with distance. But then I can go up here and I can see my training calendar, 3,395.6 miles so far. My goal was 2,000 for the year. And so I'm at 375 for August. And I'm going to get another 40 to 50 before the month. I'll get over 400 for August because I got to ride my bike on Saturday. And then when I go into like my profile here, I can see that walking, I don't walk anymore. If it's more than a mile, I take my bike. And I started getting groceries delivered. So I'm not even walking to the grocery store. And so I've gone 59.9 miles on foot this year, the whole year. Because if it's 2 miles away, I'm taking the bike. Why would I walk? It takes an hour to walk 3 miles. So 2 miles would be a 40-minute walk or a 4-minute bike ride. So I'm going to take my bike. But on the bicycle, it says that this year I've gone 3,333.9 miles so far. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. This training calendar. And April, well, which one has months? March had 589 miles. April had 530. And that was before I cut back the number of days I was working at the bakery. Every single one of these miles, B vitamins, multivitamin. I do have some vitamins right on the shelf here. I forget to do it. They're right in front of me. I got to put them someplace that when I see them and I go, oh, vitamins, and eat them. I get the gummies. And since I moved in here, I usually have melatonin in the other room and vitamins out in the kitchen. And I don't really take the melatonin unless I have to go to sleep and I can't. So that's rare that I take it, but when it's there for when I need it. And the vitamins I'll take, but like I said, they can be right in front of me and I just don't eat the vitamins. They're right there. I got to put them somewhere. I got to start eating breakfast too. not a giant chocolate chip cookie from the bakery, but like something good. And so I just got to make some adjustments. B vitamin, multivitamin might be a simple fix when you can research and afford it. You really put a lot on your body, and I'm feeling it like a warrior. Yeah, I'm feeling it. It's just, I cut back about 100 miles a month. You can see from March, April, then May, June, July, and August, they're all sitting around 400 miles. And that's pretty consistent now. And I'll get to 5,000 miles by the end of the year if I keep doing 400 a month. In fact, I don't have to do 400 a month to get there, but it's around that. And but that's a lot. I don't think I've ever rode that many miles in a year on a bike. I can't think. I've gone on 1,000-mile bike rides, but if you add up all the biking of that year, it still wouldn't add up to 4,000 miles. I would just go on a really long bike ride for fun and then not ride a bike for a month or two and maybe go on a few 100-mile another ride for fun, a trip, something, a multi-day bike adventure. I would do that here in Texas if I could, I don't know, getting a car. That's my number one thing right now. I'm looking around. Let me see if that. Well, here, I got bookmarks. Let me see if any of these are still there. This one, the best one, this one, is it still? Yeah, now that I can share my screen, I keep forgetting. So this is, out of all the vehicles I've seen so far, just window shopping, this was the best one I've seen so far. The Toyota RAV4. Has a little bit of paint issues on the hood and whatnot. And the glove box, the upper glove box got this cracked door, but you can replace that whole glove box for like $200 off eBay. It looks okay. 148,000 miles, 149,000 miles, and I could get this thing for $4,000. And I believe it's 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Yes, 4-wheel drive. So it wouldn't be a bad. JS is saying I haven't looked at the Carfax. There should be a Carfax for this one. Out of all the other vehicles I've looked at, this is probably the best deal out of this one. Here's another one that was high up on the list. Oops. A Subaru Forester. I don't think, I like Subarus, but the problem, if you get a Subaru Impreza, it's kind of like buying a cheap Jeep Wrangler. If you buy a Subaru Impreza, you're going to have a vehicle that someone beat the crap out of because everybody buys those to race and to drive fast and to mess with the turbos and do all kinds of stuff. But a Forester is, that's a pretty clean looking vehicle there. That wouldn't be a bad vehicle to cruise around and go on some adventures with, whatnot. What was the price on this one? It was around $5,000, probably haggle. Same thing with the RAV4. The RAV4 was $4,200. I could definitely get it for probably under $4,000. It's a private seller, so that's easier to haggle. And this has been here for a while, so the longer it's been for sale, the more people are going to haggle because they want to get this done. So yeah, and I got to go look at it myself. And I don't even know. Like, I haven't even looked for anything in a week. That was just window shopping. And there were a few other ones that I had looked at here. What was this? Now, this one looked like it might be, oh, it's gone. Someone bought it. There was a Ford Focus SE that had 50,000, 60, well, had 6,000 miles on it. And it looked brand spanking new. And the guy had service records. And it was like, you could tell this guy took meticulous care of this car. But one of the things that he had done to it was replace the clutches. And it's got a dual clutch transmission with paddle shifters. And he replaced the clutches in the transmission. And when I did some research, everywhere was like, don't buy that car. Oh, that car is horrible. Don't, the clutches, the transmissions on those go bad. You won't even get 50,000 miles out of that transmission. And here he had replaced the clutches on the transmission at 45,000 miles, just like all the problem reports said. And so I'm like, this guy had this Ford Focus for a period of time and his warranty was over. And he's like, I got to get rid of this thing because something else is going to break and it's going to cost me a fortune. But he probably had all of the repairs done to that car under warranty. And now that that warranty's over, he's like, get it out of here. Because I can't afford to replace this transmission the next time it blows up. My father always said, breakfast makes the man. He obviously meant for energy. It does. It makes a big difference if you eat the right thing. I started trying to fix. I got into this bad habit of, let me stop sharing that. I got into this bad habit of not eating breakfast when I go to work in the mornings on the bicycle. And then I put my coffee in a stainless steel bottle, put it on my bike, and then I don't drink any water for the 25 miles in. And in the morning, that really doesn't bother me. But you're supposed to drink every 15 minutes or so, even if you're not thirsty. And what I'm finding is when I get to the bakery, I eat my breakfast, but for the first 2-3 hours at the bakery, I'm dying of thirst. And I'm chugging water all morning long. So now I'm putting my coffee bottle in my backpack. On the bicycle, I'm putting a 24-ounce bottle of electrolytes with water, with some electrolyte tablets in it. And I'm eating a Cliff Bar before I leave the house. And drinking some electrolytes and having my morning coffee at home. And I'm finding out that I'm not as thirsty when I get to the bakery. I feel a little bit better energy. I'm not as hungry throughout the day. And it's all just because I ate a Cliff Bar before I have to like choke down breakfast because I just don't like to eat in the morning. So even a Cliff Bar, a white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar in the morning, a regular size Cliff Bar, I'm like just tiny bites. And I chug about 16 ounces of electrolytes in the morning now when I go to the bakery and eat that Cliff Bar and drink the coffee. And then I've got mini Cliff Bars, the tiny ones that are like 100 calories. They're in like a little pouch on my shoulder strap now. So while I'm riding my bike, I can go zip and I can grab one and chew. I'm supposed to eat one of those on each way, but I just can't, I'm just like not hungry. I don't want to eat until after I get to the bakery. And then I'm like, all right, now I can eat some Chick-fil-A, go get some protein, go get a burrito, chicken burrito, and I'm good to roll. But we're all talking about, I got to go back. DSMO, K2 absorbed, blah, quarter spoon of this and that. I'll tell you this stuff that I got a while back. So I was going to this massage therapist in Jamestown, New York before I was arrested. Best freaking massage therapist on earth. And she uses this ointment, CBD oil. It's not THC, but it's like Tiger Balm and, Icy Hot or whatever, but it's CBD based ointment. It rubs it into the skin. And so the first time I went and got a massage from her, that's what she uses instead of massage oil. And I was like, I'm just not like, when I got my massage, I was like, yeah, it was all right. It didn't really feel like she was digging too deep. She really wasn't like, I was like, man, I've had massage therapists really hurt me a lot worse than that. And we went out to eat after the massage because my ex and we would go together and we'd each get a massage and then we'd go live our life the rest of the day. We went out to eat we did something after that massage. Like 2 hours later, I looked at her and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I feel like I just got back from soccer camp or something. I'm like, I gotta go to sleep. I can't walk right now. And like, cause the CBD ointment was wearing off. And now I'm starting to feel what happened at the massage place. And so I had a Theragun, the massage guns, but these things are like boom, 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 boom. I mean, they beat your muscles up like a meat tenderizer. Like there's nothing else out there that'll beat your muscles up like a Theragun massage gun. These things are insane. And so we picked up some of that CBD ointment. I got to look up the brand. It's got to be that. Let me look. I'm just going to look at some images and if I find it, I'll share it with you all. It's this one, definitely. All right. That's the exact same one. I'm going to share my screen. I'm telling you, this stuff here is shit. CBD Clinic pain and ointment relief. This stuff right here, nothing else like it on earth. I'm telling you, Tiger Balm, Icy Hot, any ointments that you put on your sore spots, nothing even comes close to this stuff. So what we would find, we would use this Theragun on sore muscles. And the Theragun is a beast. This thing will beat you up. You find a knot in your muscles and I'll be like, ah! I'd scream out loud. I'd be like, oh my God, that hurts so bad. And I'd tense up and I'd be like, take it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Way too intense. You rub some of this ointment on that spot, wait 10 seconds, turn the Theragun back on and put the thing on there. You feel great. Your muscles relax. You don't feel the pain. You don't feel the knots anymore. And you can sit there and hold the Theragun on that same spot. And all of a sudden, you'll feel the muscles just go boom, and you'll feel the knots explode in your muscles. And after I did that a few times to where like we would find a knot and just dig in and I'd be like, ah, like screaming in pain. Rub the ointment on that spot, count to 10, put the massage gun back on the spot, no pain at all. So this massage therapist, she told me one day, she goes, if I didn't use that stuff on my clients, you would all cry and scream at me and you'd all hate me. But this stuff, I don't know what it does. It like numbs the pain, whatever it, and not, like nothing else. I'm telling you, there's absolutely nothing else out there that will relieve your pain like this. Nothing, not even close. This stuff is gold. It's expensive, but you only need like a little jar like that will last you a year because you don't need a lot. You just put a little bit on your fingers and rub it in, and it's like, boom, it takes the pain away, completely away. This stuff is nuts. I swear by this stuff. They probably won't even let you get it in Texas because it's CBD and you'd probably go to fucking prison or some shit for this, but I don't know. That stuff is the end of it all. I'm telling you, that is the best ointment. CBD Clinic pain relief ointment. This freaking massage therapist would just destroy you. She would dig so deep into your knots and just rip you apart. But you'd just be laying there. Every now and then I'd feel like, ooh, or something like that. But I know now, after I got that stuff and used it with the Theragun massager, and I could feel the difference between, and then you rub that stuff in, and then you take the massage gun, and it's like, whoa, it's like totally different. And it she must have been ripping my muscles apart to the point where I would have been crying and screaming in pain, to the point you'd probably hear me screaming out in the parking lot if she didn't use that massage oil before she digs in with her hands and elbows. And that was why 2 hours after the massage appointment, where I was like, yeah, I was like it wasn't that good of a massage. I've had better. And then 2 hours later, that stuff wears off, and you feel like you just got run over by a freight train out of nowhere. And you're like, what the hell was that? You're in so much pain. I couldn't even sit in a chair. I'd have to go lay down in bed, and I'd just be like, for 2 straight days, I'd be a complete wreck. And then all of a sudden, my muscles, my whole body would just feel amazing. But like, I'm telling you, this massage therapist was no joke. I've never had anything like that before or since. But the first time I went, I didn't think she did squat, because that CBD ointment masked all the pain. You didn't feel any of the pain. All you felt was basic massage. And my ex at the time, first time I went, she was like, oh, you'll see. You wait, you'll see what's up. And I was just like, well, it wasn't that good of a massage. 2 hours later, I'm like, what the hell was that? Whoa! And so I wouldn't even mess with anything else. That's the ointment you want right there. What else do we got? I'm afraid that if I use that ointment, even though it's not THC, the fucking federal government probably has some piss test or something that they'll bring over to my house, and then you'll go to prison for using the wrong fucking ointment. So I'm not even fucking with it until they're out of my life. I don't even want to take a melatonin if I know Johnny Law's coming over to the house with a plastic cup. Anyway, Soul H2O, also good if no blood pressure issues. Pink Himalayan sea salt, 1 tablespoon a day, mixed with distilled where oversaturates. H2O doesn't dissolve. I leave on the counter. Migraine, add lemon juice, medical cup. Okay. Yeah, there's good stuff in the chat here. I always save the chats. So when I save the video after I hit stop tonight, you'll be able to go back and see what people said in the chat. If you want to look anything up again, I tell YouTube not to delete the chats because there's a lot of good stuff in here. So you can always go back to the replay, and you can probably have to fast forward the video to, I don't know how it works. I think you can fast forward the video to like the end or near the end, hit pause, and then scroll through the chats. Yeah, I tried CBD at a massage therapy. He was selling a small jar for $90. It's expensive. That stuff was, I want to say it was like $60 for a small jar of what I just showed you. And then she had a big one for like $90 to $100 or something like that. She wasn't even marketing it up. She was selling it to us for what she pays. But I'm telling you, the little tub, I had a little, the little tub that I showed you is probably about that big, like about the size of a hair gel canister. That's like a year's supply, because you only need to dip your fingers in it a little bit and it goes along. You get a lot out of it. So it's 90. If it's $90, that's like $90 a year for a year. So that's like a year supply. Even if you're using it like multiple times a week, you're not going to go through that fast because it takes very little to use. So, I mean, I don't know if you're addicted to it and you're just rubbing it all over you every day, like the guy at the Silence of the Lambs is down there rubs the lotion on its skin, and somebody's gonna holding his little dog while he's yelling at you down in the pit. Then maybe you'll go through more than a jar a year. But for regular people, that's about it. I brew my own colloidal silver, 9-volt batteries, silver wires, 6 years, knocks out viruses, etc., etc. I've got some silver coins in a jar, but I think I'm gonna take those to a coin shop whenever silver goes through the roof, if it ever does. Some of them can be collector coins. Some of them are just junk silver coins, pre-1964 quarters and half dollars. Because I was stocking up on back in my prepper days, I was stocking up on those. You could buy silver coins on eBay. There was a way to set your search, figure out what the spot price of silver is. And then, because pre-1964 quarters, half dollars, and dimes are a certain percent silver with other metals mixed with them, but not much, but it's a lot. It's like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's mostly silver. You can spot them right away if you know what you're looking for. They sound different when you clink them on you can tell when you're holding silver coins versus the crappy ass fake coins that we have today. They're way different. If you've held them in your hand, you instantly will know. I can tell. Sometimes I get change and I'm like, oh, that's a silver dime. Blink. Like, you spot them right off. They just look different. They have a different color. They have a different sound when they bounce off the table. So I would just collect some silver coins whenever I could get them. You used to be able to go to a bank and you could say, I want $50 in, I want, like, you could give the bank $200 cash and get rolls of silver dollars. And then you could take those home, pull all the silver dollars out, or the half dollars, the 50-cent pieces. You could get $200, $300 worth in rolls, take them home, pull out all the silver ones, and then roll them back up and take them back to the bank and put your money back in the bank and just keep the silver. And you could do that over and over again, but then people caught on to that, and then you couldn't anymore. But you used to be able to just pluck, get some silver coins for free from the bank just by getting rolls of coins. So I've got, but then I figured out you could go on eBay and you could set your price limit. So you could search for silver coins, junk silver coins, say, I want half dollars. I want silver half dollars, and that's all I'm looking for. And then you can just go boom, and you get all these search results. And then you can filter. There's a filter, and you can, whatever the spot price is of silver, you can kind of sort them by price. Or what I would do is look for the ones that the auction is ending the soonest. And then I would just open up like 20 of them and boom, 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 in new tabs. And I would look at each one. What's the cost of this coin or these coins plus shipping? Is it the same as the spot price of what the silver that's in the coins would be worth? If it's yes, I'll bid on it. And if it's not, I'll close the tab. And I would line up, I would open like 20 tabs, every single one that the price plus shipping was less than or the price of spot silver for that day, I would bid. and I would bid on like 20 of them, and then I would end up winning like 3 out of the 20 auctions because I'd get an email like an hour later, you won this, this, and this, and I'd end up with a bunch of silver coins coming to my house, and I paid spot price for the silver. So as long as the price of silver continues to go up, then I can turn around and sell these coins again. And some of the coins I was getting were collector coins. So I could take the coins like I could get numismatic value that's above and beyond the price of silver, but on my worst day, at least it's the price of silver. And plus, when the shit hits the fan, if you will, and we're all trading silver coins, I've got a little bit of, not much. I probably can't get much, but I have a little jar of silver coins that I could at least use. My goal was to have a lot of silver, but I didn't do this all the time, but that's like little tricks. If the price of silver ever drops again to where it's like, well, I guess it's pretty good right now. It's 38.92. I'm looking right now. Price of silver per ounce. It took a long time for that to climb back up over 30 because there was a peak back in the day. So I don't know if the price of silver jumps up to like $100 an ounce, I would have a few bucks, not much, but more like I could go get some food I could maybe do something when things go bad. But anyway, you're all talking about the colloidal silver and all the other stuff, and I'm talking about silver coins. But you want to make your own silver? It's an easy way to get silver. Is to get silver coins on eBay, bidding at below spot price. I never messed around with gold because I ain't got money for that. I've got some gold jewelry. Every now and then, I've got this one necklace that my father gave me before he died. I don't want to sell it because obviously I just told you why I don't want to sell it. If it came down to it, if the shit hit the fan and that gold necklace could buy me something that I need or whatever, survive, then all right, here you go. But for now, I'm not. It's got sentimental value. I'd like to just give it to my son one of these days, but my son never met my dad. So he passed away before my son was born. So, but even so, it would still be cool that his dad gave it to him. DSMO. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Okay. I'm looking this up. I used to stack some silver, but I had to cash out. Yeah, I never stacked it high. I stored it. So it's kind of like Chris Rock used to say, if you want to hide your money, keep it in your books. Because if someone's going to rob you, the last place they're going to look is your bookshelf. I used to hide my silver coin collection in baby formula cans because who's going to go looking through the baby formula? And so I had some things in baby formula cans back in my house back in the day. And if you opened up one cupboard, you'd see some baby formula, but it was silver. I think that's better than putting it in a safe. But then again, well, the people who would be robbing my house probably don't give a crap about their babies. So they probably won't be taking the baby formula home because then that means they'd have to hang out with their kids. So that was a good place. That always felt like that was the best place to hide it. Just put it up in the cupboard. Maybe throw a couple baby bottles up in there for decoration just to make it look legit. Nobody will ever touch it. The safe, people are going to pull that safe out of your wall, but they're going to open up the cupboard. Oh, the baby formula? It's like kryptonite. Shut that. DSMO. Dimethyl sulfoxide. Is that what we're talking about? What do we? Okay, different things. Industrial solvent and for delivering medicines through the skin. Okay, so look at that. Yeah, better than stacking paper money. It's some protection from inflation. That's kind of why. I mean, I was just doing it because I was a prepper and it was just part of what you do. I was stacking bullets. I had ammo. I had a whole closet full of ammo because they say you're supposed to have 1,000 rounds for every gun, and I had 13 guns, so I was stacking that. And when ammo was impossible, I could have sold my closet of ammo for enough to buy a freaking truck because ammo got to be so ridiculously expensive during 2020 and everything, and I had just stocked up on a lot in bulk before that. But then I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to go shoot my guns at all. We would go to the gun range during 2020, 2021, and we'd go sight in our guns and shoot a little bit to make sure our guns worked. But I'm like, no, we can't just go have fun today. We can't just go blast all we want because you might not be able to get more. Now, I mean, now things have gotten back to like normal again, I guess. Kind of like when they jack the price of gasoline up to $6 a gallon and then it comes back down to 2, and everybody's like, "Oh, great, it's only $2 now." And then it goes up to like 5 and everybody's like, "Oh my god, gas is $5 a gallon." So they bring it down to 3 and everybody's like, "Oh, thank god it's only $3 now." If they had gone from $2 to $3, everybody would have been crying about it. So they go from $2 to $5, and then they bring it back down to 3, and everybody's like, "Oh, thank God it's only 3." And they've done that with ammo. Same thing. Ammo used to be dirt cheap, then it got super skyrocket expensive. Now it's down to like above what it used to be, and then they'll do it again and again and again, and they'll do the same thing with gas and food and eggs and everything else you buy. Um, hmm, got that info. Help out others. See, this is yeah. See, this is why I think having the Discord server for the members of the channel would be dope because I don't know how it all works. I got to do some homework, but it can be set up prepper stuff, natural remedies. Everybody's got knowledge here, and everybody can share knowledge with everybody else, including me. And you can have an archive of all the different things. And one of the things that I wish I had done this before, if I was doing this when all the crap hit the fan in 2020, 2021, if I had this kind of a community with internet friends like this, I used to travel the country all the time, so I would have been able to meet up with people all over the place. And I love meeting people because I'm a photographer. And so, like, local people always tell me, "Oh, you got to go check out this thing or go over there." Or they always tell me secret things that only the locals know about. Like, "Oh, here's where you can go camp, and here's where all the people go party back in the woods." And then I find these places. And every time I meet people at these places, they're like, "Wait a minute, where are you from? You're from Pittsburgh? How the hell did you find out about this place? This is like our secret party spot down here in the backwoods of Kentucky. And how did you find this place? You're not one of us, but hey, welcome to the party. Have a good time, you know." Um, and I always, back in the day, I would be, I was protected on my hip. And if I heard the sound of banjos in the woods, I knew get out of there. But I used to meet people from all over the place and find all these secret things just because of that insider knowledge that you get. And so like having a thing like this would be dope. When not if, but when I can travel freely again, I'll go right back to doing my photography thing, going all over. I was like right on the cusp of doing something really cool before this all went to shit. Um, I had everything I had all my ducks in a row, but I just hadn't really figured out what to do yet. And now I'm kind of like on the opposite side of things. Um, but yeah, I have to be easy because most people get paralyzed with information overload. Yeah, sure. Discord would be good so we can compare some notes. It would be cool. I mean, this is the kind of thing that the I really don't get on lots of message boards, but back in the day, the survival podcast message board was full of all kinds of stuff, and I could learn all kinds. That was like one of the first places I would go if I wanted to know about something. And there were things I knew a lot about that I could, bicycling, bicycles, things like that. I mean, I could talk about bicycles and bicycle repair and all kinds of stuff all day long. And vice versa, people, photography equipment, gear, different things. But then other people I'd have a problem with my Jeep. I'd be like, what do you guys think? Look at this, look at that, look at the other thing. And then there was a couple of Jeep forums. I could pretty much figure out what was going on with my vehicle before I took it. I always wanted to know what was wrong so that I could either fix it myself, or if I took it to the mechanic, I at least know what to expect. And so those kind of message boards are always cool. So I'll probably do that. And but I wanted to give you guys a chance to like throw some more notes on the board here since you're having that conversation. But it is getting late, and I'm probably going to go eat some bad food and figure out how much sleep I'm going to get, all that kind of stuff. And tomorrow's a new day. I got some stressful things to do tomorrow, and then another weekend of that bakery, and another week. Hopefully next week I'll be able to report that I am officially shopping for a car. But I will have the membership stuff. I'll have something up there. That's my goal for tomorrow, along with some other things. But that is the one thing I want to actually finish. I want to put that up and launch it tomorrow. So, I'll put that out. Next week we can talk on the live stream, and I'm just going to keep moving in the direction of, making this whole thing better, one step at a time. I'll just keep making small changes, and things will get better. With that, it was all fun. It was fun seeing you all, and I know also one other thing. If anybody, like you guys, like Blue Sky, if you want to share stuff over the video, if you're cool with being on video, some people aren't. I think it's pretty easy for me to set up a Zoom meeting and attach it to a live stream. I have a tech note. I have a page bookmarked on how to do it. It's just entering in some stuff and hitting a button. So, and there's like a 25 to 30 second delay between the Zoom meeting and when you see on YouTube. They're out of sync a little bit, but everybody can still chat in the YouTube chat. But that makes it easy for me to bring other people into the video. And I think Zoom's easier to deal with that than I know YouTube has some of that stuff too, but I think it's easier to do with a Zoom meeting. So, if anybody's got stuff like to share, we could do that. We could do a little bit of that too. There's a few people I want to have on as a guest as this moves forward, and I get a little more like savvy with the buttons and how it all works. So, members, do we get members only jackets if we sign up? I don't know. Maybe we'll see what I got to hit up a lot of thrift stores to get a collection of those going, but I think they're kind of going, I think they're selling for a lot of money these days, probably more than they sold for new in the 80s. So, but that's what I'm going to use for the thumbnail on any live members only live streams. You already kind of beat me. You stole my thunder there, but I'm using that for the thumbnail image. I mean, how could you not? So I had a members only. I had a gray one. So, but anyway, I'm gonna let you all go and go get some bad food to eat and get my relax on. And my body battery has been 5% since I started the stream, so I'm tired, and I'm sure many of you are. So, peace out, and we'll talk next week. It was a good one.